I really like that movie.
Yeah. That's a sweet one. That used to be like, you know, back when I was getting in trouble throughout the entirety of the 90s, people were like, why can't you just be sweet like that guy you played in Chances Are? I was like, I don't know. Be him, don't be Julian.
I'm a sucker for any stories like that. Heart and Souls is another one that I like. And but as you look at do you remember where you were in your life when you made these movies, or do you disconnect?
No, for Less Than Zero, first of all, that was the first time I ever was on a tennis court. Second of all the stuff that Julian's getting into, like I was like an East Coast kid and I partied, but I'd never gone down this like terrible, like super addicted road that he was on. So it was a bit of a Ghost of Christmas Future. And also, it was this, this totally privileged society. Like everything in the film was the first time I ever wore like a jacket that cost more than $100. It was the first time. And yet the whole movie was about the excess of Los Angeles and how the hero of the story, Clay, Andrew McCarthy, is trying to get out of Los Angeles, and Jamie Gertz, who was like the most clean, nice Midwestern girl you'd ever met, who's playing this, And I was like, wow, like we're really showing the dark side of, Hollywood, It's a shame what happens to people like this in these books. And then I remember even on like the first day of rehearsals for Chances Are, I'd met some friends. We were in Washington, D.C. I'd met some friends. We wound up back at the hotel. We ordered some champagne. One thing led to another. And then the read-through was at 11 a.m. and it was, about 2:45 p.m. and I was just sleeping it off. And the door came off the hinges and it was Ryan O'Neal. And he was like, if I'm here telling you you're fucking up, you're fucking up. And I was like, wow, like people seem pretty uptight. Not that I knew I was late, but it was a bit of a warning sign there. But I remember loving shooting the movie. It seemed really sweet, and part of me after doing something like Less Than Zero, you're like, why am I doing this dumbass romantic comedy? And like, because that's what people want to see you do. We don't want to see you like, dying in Palm Springs and bumming everybody out. I was like, oh, okay. Don't worry, I'll wake up on time for the next read-through. Don't worry about it. I'll just start earlier.
These films, and you made so many films, are you a workaholic? I mean, do you really?
I'm a something-aholic.
Yeah.
Work to me, and I think you know this, I mean, I've seen you so many times over the years, and I've seen approval in your eyes, I've seen concern in your eyes, I've seen encouragement in your eyes, I've seen disappointment in your eyes. I like your eyes tonight best. Thank you very much. I think that the weird thing about this Cosa Nostra, this thing we share, is we genuinely do have an affection for each other, if we're not assholes, and we do kind of keep an eye on one another. I'm sorry, last time, what was the question? I'll come back.
No, I'm leading into the next clip, which is from another film I like that fortunately the other guys like too, True Believer, with James Woods. And you'll see in this clip, there's something electric in the air when the two of you are working opposite each other. And not every film that you made was a spectacular film or an event film with a capital E. It's just a movie. Yeah. It opens Friday. There's several opening this Friday. You can choose from this one to this one to this one. And today, because movie making has become so expensive and people are risk averse, as they say, we don't get a lot of bread and butter movies coming down the pipeline. There's more at stake with every decision to make a movie or not make a movie. But when you started out and you started, building a career, there were good choices like this to be made.
Yeah, Truly, truly, truly. And I love this story because it was based on this lawyer, real-life trial lawyer named Tony Serra, who had defended some unsavory types, and then he would take on these kind of almost pro bono cases, and some of them were quite serious. And that's really what True Believer was about, was this lawyer someone who was just phoning it in and had given up on justice, and then he's given a chance. It's very much like like The Verdict. It was kind of like a cooler late 80s version of The Verdict. And I learned so much from him. He was like speaking of modern masters, he was like a great, great teacher to me. James Woods was.
Well, let's look at the two of you in a scene from True Believer, followed by a scene from Chaplin. About
Oh, I remember
whom
that
and
one.
about
Yeah.
which. more
Okay,
later.
good.